Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Donna and this is my Lovebird Sprinkles. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about Cuttlebone for birds. So what is Cuttlebone? Well, I'm going to show you what Cuttlebone is. This is Cuttlebone. There goes Sprinkles. And this is Cuttlebone. See the different sizes? So it does come in various sizes. It's white and it's like oval shaped. And if I go closer, it's hard on one side and softer on the other. I can get my nail through there. So they're all the same, just different sizes. So hard on one side and softer on the other side. A cuttlebone is actually not a bone. It's actually from the internal shell of a cuttlefish. It's full of gas chambers that help keep the cuttlefish buoyant in the water and helps it maneuver through the water. Have you ever seen what a cuttlefish looks like? Well, they'll put a picture and you can have a look. They have 8 arms and 2 tentacles. A cuttlefish is a mollusk. It's related to the octopus and the squid. So what happens is when the cuttlefish passes away and it decays, the internal shell, which is the cuttlebone, floats to the top of the ocean and washes ashore, where people will collect it, wash it, and sell it to retail stores. What is cuttlebone made of? Well, basically it consists of calcium carbonate and some minerals, which include zinc, potassium, and iron. It's actually a natural product. It does not contain any toxins or any contaminants. What is cuttlebone used for? Well, it's used for not only birds, it's used as a calcium supplement for pet birds, turtles, some reptiles, chinchillas, and hermit crabs. It builds strong bones and helps with blood clotting. There are other uses of cuttlebone that doesn't involve animals. Some jewelers use it as a polishing agent for their jewelry, and actually it could be found in toothpaste as a polishing agent as well. And sometimes it's used as a dietary supplement, which serves as an antacid. So why give cuttlebone to our birds? Well, it aids as a calcium supplement, and it could be for a beak conditioner and also used for enrichment. It's excellent for breeding birds or birds that are chronic egg layers, as chronic egg layers can deplete of calcium, and giving them the cuttlebone, which is calcium, can help them get back the calcium that they need. It may help support a beak strength and polish the beak, but in my opinion it's too soft to actually trim the beak. If your bird's beak is overgrown, it's not going to like trim the beak right down or make the beak sharp. If your bird's beak is overgrown, it probably needs to see the vet to get it properly trimmed, or you need to provide some stronger items to chew, like some wooden branches or other kind of blocks to chew on, because it is pretty soft. If you were to put your nail in there, many times, you'll see your nail is kind of just polished and not really shortened. It might help it, just look a little nicer, but it's not going to trim the beak or make the beak sharper. But it will polish. Sometimes birds get these flakes, when the beak is growing constantly and it grows these little flakes. That just means their beak is growing. It might help smooth off those layers and make the beak look nicer. Large birds are too destructive to use cuttlebone. They'll just chew that up like within seconds. They'll just chew it right up. So another way you can use the cuttlebone for larger birds is you can scrape it off and put it in their food. You can put it in their chop, stir it up, or put it on top of their pellets or whatever they eat. And so that'll help as a nice calcium supplement for the bigger birds. But a lot of little birds really like the cuttlebone. I find that my birds, I have quite a few different species. I find that the budgies really love the cuttlebone, and my canaries, they really love the cuttlebone. So the budgies and my canaries are the top cuttlebone chewers, and my borks, they don't really go for it too much. My cockatiels will chew on that, but that's about it. Other birds kind of use it, but mainly budgies and my canaries love the cuttlebone. Cuttlebone is naturally white. You might see a little bit off colors, like some beige, brown on it, which is normal. If you compare them all, you'll see different, shades of different colors, but that's fine. But you might also see colored cuttlebone, and it's basically flavored with fruits. You can see mango, banana, raspberry, strawberry, orange. I suggest to stay with the natural white one. It's best to stay natural instead of using the colors. The colors, you know, might not be so good for them, and it also will color the feathers sometimes. When they're chewing on that, your bird's gonna have a red face or a green face, whatever color the Cuttlebones come into. But I suggest try to use natural as much as you can. All right, so how do you give Cuttlebone? Well, I'm gonna show you. So Cuttlebone, you know, there's various sizes, like I said, so it just depends on what size you're using. But I like this treat clip here. You can just clip that on the side of the cage. I usually clip it beside the perch. Now, when you're hanging it in the cage, you want to make sure that you're placing the soft side facing the bird. So if you got the perch, you know, say here, and your bird's gonna be, your Cuttlebone's gonna be, you know, say it's on this little hook here, right? This is the soft side, so your perch is here. So you don't want to place it backwards because this is too hard. They can't really get through that. So you make sure the soft side is facing the bird where they're going to eat it. So you put the perch here and you put this here, and your bird can sit on the perch and chew away. So that's one way you can hang it up. But there are some Cuttlebone holders. I'll show you a few that I have. There's this, and I like this because there's a perch on there. So what you do is this is mainly, you can get different sizes. It comes in large and small. So this just sticks. Let me just see if I can put it in here for a second. Give me a second. There we go. I did it quickly. So basically it goes like that. And there's hooks on it. So you hook it on the cage, on the side of the cage, and your bird can sit here. Your bird can sit here and eat that. Now make sure again the soft side is facing out so your bird can get access to that and chew away on that. Then there's one, this is a nice one. I like this one actually. This is basically called a safe Cuttlebone holder for birds that are like avid chewers. Basically, you got to be careful of the back of a Cuttlebone. It's pretty hard and it could be sharp. If they start chewing away at the back, they can actually cut themselves. They can cut their tongue, cut their mouths because it's a sharp like shard, right? So you really don't want them to get to that point where it's just the sharp part. So if your bird, especially budgies and female budgies, they just like chew away. So this goes in here, right? Well, I can't get it in perfectly, but I will when I put it on. So it attaches, there's a knob here, it sticks to your cage like that. And basically the soft side is out again. Your bird can sit here and chew away on that, and they can't get to the back of it. I mean, I gotta put it in tighter. I just don't want to sit here for an hour fixing it up. So that way they can't really get to the back of the Cuttlebone, and they can just get to the front. I recommend this for little birds, you know, canaries or any little parakeets, budgies, borks, any bird actually. I really like this Cuttlebone holder. It's a nice one. So this is basically like a safe one. This is like a safe one, so they can't get to the back of the Cuttlebone. So when you're buying Cuttlebone in the stores, I'll show you one of them that I bought recently. It comes in 2 packs. Sometimes you can get more than 2. Sometimes you can buy 1. Sometimes you can buy a whole box. But some of them come with this clip. Let's see if you can see it. Anyway, do you see the metal clip? I'm going to take it out of the box to show you. Give me a second. Alright, so I got it out of the container. Anyways, there's a metal clip. See it on the back here? And basically, you know, the front is being held by this clip. And basically the back of it, you can just adjust these 2 little metal pieces. This is for small cages. It doesn't really stay on a cage if you have a big, you know, with big bars. But this is for small birds. And basically you just wrap these 2 little clips here just around the cage. And you can put this near a perch like that. So yeah, it can come in. It can come in 2, 1. I've seen it in 10. It just depends. So you can buy Cuttlebone in any amount that you want. And Cuttlebone can be placed through the bars if you don't have any holders. You can actually break this into small pieces. And a really good way, if your bird doesn't even touch Cuttlebone, is you can take like a knife or one of those like a cheese graters. You know the cheese graters? You can just grate this and some fine powder will come off, and you can put it on top of some fresh food, like chop any fresh food on top of pellets or seeds or whatever you feed. You can put that on top of their food, and that way they will get the calcium they need. And so that's another way you can do that, especially for female birds. If they're like chronic egg layers, they're egg bound or anything like that, they need more calcium. That's a good way to give it to them, is just scrape it off and make it into powder and put it into their food. So Cuttlebone can be given to both male and female birds, and it's very inexpensive. It can be found in basically all pet stores. You can find it online. You can find it on Amazon. I'll put a link down below if you can't find it in your area, and check out my Amazon store. I got a lot of bird products on there, but I highly recommend you have some Cuttlebone available for your birds. So how long does Cuttlebone last? Well, there is no expiry date on Cuttlebone, unless for some reason it got moldy and it has some mold on it, so you don't want to use that. But it can last a very, very long time. You put it in the cage. It depends on how often your bird will chew on it, but you can basically leave it in there until they, get down to the outer shell on the back. You just don't want them to be chewing all that hard stuff, especially little birds like budgies and all that, to hurt themselves. But I mean, some birds can chew this up in a few weeks. It might last a couple of months or a year for some birds, so it just depends. But also, if this gets soiled, if you get any, food or poop on it or anything like that, you can just scrape off the dirty parts, and you can actually wash it as well. Just wash it in water, and if it's a nice sunny day where you are, a nice sunny time, you can put it in the sun to dry, or just let it air dry in your house and put it back in when it's dry. So it's pretty good that way, so you don't have to throw it away if it gets like a little bit of poop on one corner. You can just scrape that off and it'll be good as new. Just a word of caution that some birds can overdose on calcium, so use your own judgment on how you're going to use the Cuttlebone. I mean, if your bird is chewing up a whole bone each day and you keep replacing it every day, that might not be a good thing, because they do get calcium in other foods. So you want to consult your vet or use your own judgment on how much Cuttlebone you want to give your bird. Now, an alternative to Cuttlebone, if you don't want to use Cuttlebone or your bird won't even touch it, you can give them calcium in other ways. You can give them some dark leafy greens, such as kale or spinach or mustard green. Broccoli has some calcium in it, and some beans and nuts. So you want to research which foods has calcium in it, and the pellets you give as well. They can have calcium in it, like, a lot of calcium. So you don't want to overdose your bird, if they're getting enough calcium, to overdose them and give them too much Cuttlebone if they're eating a lot of that. And also you can give them some crushed or powdered sterilized eggshells, which is research that as well. There's a process that you can do to feed your bird eggshells. It has to be, powdered very small, because it can be sharp as well, and it can, cut their insides, right? So powdered is good. There's also liquid calcium you can get, and powdered calcium for birds. But then again, consult your vet and do your research and make sure you're not overdosing. Now, especially for female birds that are prone to getting egg bound or any kind of egg problems, need some extra calcium. So you want to make sure you're giving them the right amount, or if you're giving them too less or too much. So always research on anything you feed your bird. So if there's anything you'd like to add about Cuttlebone, put it down below in the comment section. That way we can all read it and we can all learn. I like to learn. If there's something that I didn't talk about in this video, I could sit here and talk all day, but I want to share my knowledge, and you can share yours as well down in the comment section. I read all the comments all the time. I might not have the time to reply to all of them, but I'll read them all, and everybody else can read them. So put them all down below in the comments. And subscribe if you haven't already. That way you won't miss any of my future videos. I hope you enjoy this video. And if you want to learn more about bird nutrition, just click on the video above and you can go learn more.